Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request. This time for Peter. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, commentaries, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is a commentary. It was very cool on one of my personal favorites, Leviathan. So thank you once again, Peter, for that. It's funny because other than an old commentary that I don't sadly think I have anymore with my friend Efrey, this is like 10 years ago. I think at one point I tried to do a commentary on a stream years ago, and it was like really poor quality, so it's not up anymore. This is when like I didn't use my phone. This is like I'm moving like this, and you can barely see my face. It was so blurry. So I've never really done a proper solo commentary for this, which is interesting because it's a personal favorite of mine. A very nice person sent me this laser disc. You've seen this, or the hard-targeted one, a lot in the background of my videos. So let's get right into it. I'm paused at the beginning, watch it on the Stream Factory Blu-ray. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. And then we have MGM logo. And I'm just doing this for syncing issue. And then we are the water with this cool ripple circular effect. Luigi and Aurelio De Laurentiis present. Gordon Company. Okay. Yeah, I want to get the syncing for those who want to follow. And what appears now is filmed by George P. Cosmatos. Guy who worked on Of Unknown Origin with Peter Weller before this. So I love the title here, Leviathan. I love that the red fills it up like it's drowning in blood. I think that was cool detail. And it's sad when you watch the credits, like how many people in this film have passed away. George P. Cosmatos, the director, had passed away. Richard Crenna, who was in Rambo first 3 Rambo films with Colonel Trautman, he passed away. We have Daniel Stern, he's still with us, being Home Alone, among many others. Ernie Hudson was in Ghostbusters, he'd be in The Crow. Michael Carmine, sadly, he passed away not too soon after this. Meg Foster with the crazy eyes, she's still with us. But George P. Cosmatos, the director. Michael Carmine and Richard Crenna, 2 actors. The score, done by Jerry Goldsmith, he's passed away. Stan Winston, who worked on the effects, he's passed away. So it's, there's Stan Winston, creature effects produced by. And Jerry Goldsmith, I think this is one of his best scores, and one of his most underrated scores, because no one ever talks about his music for Leviathan, but I think it's a fantastic score. And this is one of my personal favorites, because to me it has all the elements. I love the production design by Ron Cobb, who worked on Alien back in the day. I did the score, I think it's fantastic. I love the way they shoot the film, which you'll see in a bit. They shot it dry for wet, where they were not underwater, they just had all these pieces of stuff floating to make it look like it was underwater. And apparently in that documentary In Search of Tomorrow, the sci-fi film, there's a clip on YouTube where Peter Weller's talking about Leviathan. And so I'm like, I want to hear that, but I don't want to pay $70 fucking to buy this fucking documentary when that's the only thing I want to see and hear. So that sucks. It's like, I don't want to pay $70 for it. But try Oceanic. Yeah, all this is done dry for wet. None of this is underwater. I just love the production design. I love they had a decent sized budget for this stuff. And this is 1989 when this came out. And sadly, when it came out, it bombed. It flopped. This is a time when The Abyss was talked about. It was going to come out in the summer. And like, oh, this is the new James Cameron film. This is the guy who did The Terminator. This is the guy who did Aliens. So I think at first people thought The Abyss was going to be a horror film, because those other 2 films are pretty much horror films. They didn't know it would be more like E.T. or Close Encounters than than that. But oh, this is going to be a big film, so let's capitalize on it. So you had Deep Star 6 by Carol, directed by Sean S. Cunningham, who did Friday the 13th. You had, oh, what was that one? You had films like The Evil Below, which was terrible. You had Roger Corman produced one called Lords of the Abyss that was cheap as hell. This is my favorite of them. Now, I like The Abyss. Some people don't. I like The Abyss, but I think this is my favorite. Because I love the cast. I love the blue-collar characters. I love this in the same vein as Stephen King's Graveyard Shift and other stuff, where, no, it's not wall-to-wall action, but when you're enjoying the characters and liking the characters, I think everyone in the cast does a great job. I think the production quality, the design is great. Peter Weller, it's my favorite role of his. I love him as RoboCop, but I love this character of Beck. He's a guy that's just a typical guy trying to do. He's in over his head. He kind of got thrust into being a leader, this captain, and he's not. He doesn't really know how to handle it because he's not used to doing this. So he's like trying to read books. The doctor's my responsibility. Oh, bullshit. And he's trying to figure out like how to be this captain. Here's Daniel Stern, who was in a horror film before this called Chud in the 80s, but after this, like I said, would be in Home Alone, Bushwhacked, among many others. Of course, these old school computers from back in the day. But you can't blame the film when it was made in 89. It would not know any of this other stuff, so. Like I said, so someone asked me, what is blue collar? It's people that just working the day, doing the dirty work, getting their hands dirty, working 9 to 5, and they just hang out, they talk about regular stuff, whether it be the game or movies, or they're just talking about whatever random stuff. And here I love the look of the inside of this suit. The suits themselves, I think, is nicely designed. Like I said, Ron Cobb and the whole production, I love the inside of this whole facility. Because, it's the Thing underwater, or it's Alien underwater. Well, cool, I haven't seen that. Why is that a bad thing? I mean, Alien was inspired by other films like Planet of the Vampires, but people forget that. It, The Terror from Beyond Space, Planet of the Vampires. There's other films you look at that makes you think of Alien. So, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And here's, again, this is him inexperienced and just trying to do his best, and it's relatable, because this is not a guy that is perfect, but it's like, you try to calm him down, trying to mess with these buttons, he doesn't know where the doctor's at, he's being a good leader, he's being a good captain, he's doing the best that he can. Ted and Harvey, no, don't do that, you gotta do this other stuff, You see the desperation in the guy's tone and the guy's voice, and again, just very likable and relatable. You feel sorry for the guy, but he's doing the best that he can. You're not going to die. Oh shit! He was going to say, "Oh, I hope I don't. I hope not." But he's doing the best he can, getting him on that platform. But yeah, you had all these underwater films at the time. Like I said, Deep Star 6, The Evil Below, Lords of the Abyss, this film. Even The Abyss didn't do that well. Like, none of them did well. And then in 1990, you had a film called The Rift, also known as Endless Descent. And Deep Star 6, I liked okay. I have the Blu-ray. Although the features on that, they're nicer to the film than the features on this. See, this Stream Factory Blu-ray, first off, I hate the fact that this is out of print. I think that's bullshit. Of all the Blu-rays that are out of print, why did this film go out of print so fucking quickly? Because I actually would like another copy just for sealed, just for safekeeping, because I'm a big fan of the film. But the features, like there's no commentary track. Okay, cool, there's an interview with Hector Elizondo and Ernie Hudson. If Peter Weller is willing to talk about, why the hell didn't they get him for this? And then there's Alec Gillis, Tom Woodruff Jr. They do this big effects feature and then just talking shit about the film. Oh, the film sucks, and oh my god, do I talk about this? And it was mediocre. I'm like, you guys made Harbinger down. Shush. I did it, it's their opinion, they have a right to their opinion, but I'm like, why is it that this is one of the only Blu-rays where you have people that talk shit for 50 minutes about the film? How many other fucking films are way worse and they get nicer features? But the one big feature is the one where 3 guys talk shit about the film. Because it's 2 guys and another guy. And there's no commentary track. There's no like little features from back in the day that you find on YouTube. Hector Elizondo and Ernie Hudson's interviews are cool though. And the film looks good on Blu-ray, but I didn't... It needed better features and be in print, so I would get another copy. Here's Daniel Stern being a wise ass telling this story. Like I said, all these people work well. Leave Jesus alone, man. And the bottom of his suit, no bigger than your dick. Came in, pressure just crammed his whole body up into his helmet. We just buried the helmet. Hey, I know about implosion. Yeah, I bet you're imploding your pants. That's what I'm talking about Peter Weller. Like, you think he's talking to the people, and you realize he's trying to work himself up to it. He realizes that's what you realize here. It's my responsibility. Bullshit. See, that's relatable. And he's trying to be a good boss. He's even reading a book about being a manager. And it's not a stupid manager for dummies like they do nowadays. It's like the 1-minute manager or something. But everyone in the cast does a good job. Like Peter Weller, you got from RoboCop. He worked with the director George P. Cosmatos in this very underrated film called Of Unknown Origin. It's about a rat, but it's more about a guy who's a neat freak, who's about control, and something that's out of his control just make him lose his mind for 90 minutes to the point that he just tears the whole place he was intricate about. He tears apart as he realizes that's not what is important. What's important is getting this fucking thing before his wife and kid comes home so that they don't get attacked. That's more important. The material shit doesn't matter. And it's a cool movie of Unknown Origin. And again, George P. Cosmatos did that with Peter Weller. And then after that, George P. Cosmatos worked with Stallone on Rambo First Blood Part 2 and Cobra. I know people say Stallone directed it more. But when I see this film and Of Unknown Origin, I have to think George P. Cosmatos had something to do with it. Maybe Stallone had more power. But to say that George P. Cosmatos did nothing... Again, I see this film, I see Of Unknown Origin. Tombstone, again, I know people say Kurt Russell did more of the work. But I think George P. Cosmatos did something. And the last film he worked on, he was very sick, and that was The Shadow Conspiracy with Charlie Sheen and Linda Hamilton. That's an awful film. And the cast, you look at this cast, every single person, you got, like I said, Peter Weller's a great lead. You got Ernie Hudson, like I said, from Ghostbusters and would later be in The Crow. There's Richard Crenna, Colonel Troutman from the first 3 Rambo films. Lisa Albacher there. She was in Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy. They're chewing her gum. And then our lead female, Amanda Pays, she was in the TV show The Flash for the 90s, which I grew up watching. I'm like, oh, it's the girl from The Flash. Because I saw this on VHS tape, and I actually have up there, someone sent me a VHS tape of Leviathan, which is very cool. Which I guess I could grab real quick. This is right here. If I don't fall. I'll just grab it here, this here. Someone was very nice enough to send me this, which I keep. I don't have a VCR, but I keep this for, it was a nice gift. If I could get the tape out, but this is the tape of Leviathan. This is the front. I always liked this cover too. I always thought it was a cool looking artwork. Really cool looking artwork. It's funny, it's a creature feature movie, but nothing on there is a creature, which is cool because it doesn't spoil the surprise. I know people make fun of the creature effects all the time. I like the creature effects. No, it's not Jar Jar's the Thing, it's not the Xenomorph, but I like the creature effects. I think they're fun to watch. I think Stan Winston's work. I like the way the creature looks. And then someone was nice enough to send me this laser disc. And yeah, I don't have a laser disc player, but it's nice to have this because I'll collect anything with Leviathan because it is one of my personal favorites. Because this is the type of monster movie I grew up with. These are the type of monster movies I like. I did a cast of people that have personality, like Ernie Hudson, David, Peter Weller. I'm glad you took care of that situation, sir. And all the cast work well. Michael Carmine, who's back there, who's the guy who's almost got blown up in his suit, imploded. Michael Carmine was in a film called Batteries Not Included around the same time. And before this, he was in films like Band of the Hand. And sadly, soon after this film, Michael Carmine passed away. The De Jesus character. This guy here, that's Michael Carmine. So, and then this girl is Amanda Pays. That's from the Flash TV show. And yeah, it did not get good reviews, and I think it's like a 5.89 to be. I think it should be a bit higher. That's just me though. And it is a slow build-up. It's a build-up I don't mind because I still get the creature feature fun. And it's not an action film. It was never meant to be an action film. It's more of an underwater horror thriller. And Roger Ebert, though, gave this a thumbs up. That surprised the shit out of me when there's an old episode of Siskel and Ebert. And I'm like, he gives this a thumbs up? Oh, shit. I'm surprised, so that was really cool to see. See, this is what I mean by the characters have personality. Like, what a pair. And Lisa Elbacher's like, what do you say? I said, what a pair. You know, the boss and his washed up doctor buddy, they made quite a pair. What do you think I was going to say? I thought you were saying that you like my boobs. See, nowadays you can't do that because it's too sexist. But that's what I mean, like, that right there gives personality in a short amount of time. Or Hector Elizondo's like, I'm going to fix this thing with a bit of bubble gum. And Ernie Hudson's watching, and then he's like, wait, how'd you do that? See, Hector Elizondo fixes it, and trade secret, don't say it. Wait, how the hell you do that? Don't say anything to anybody. Job security. Wait a minute. You can't leave. How the hell did you do that? And here, Amanda, Six-Pack, Daniel Stern's character, played a trick on her. You see, new Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Scream 5 and all this. This is how you develop characters that maybe you don't have an in-depth, Oscar-winning capability like Shawshank Redemption. But this is a variety of characters that you get in bits of personality. Like Maid Foster, you get that she's the cold-hearted bitch. Most of the time, we only see her through this TV screen. And Maid Foster, she's the company, so to speak, with the crazy eyes. And she was in, I know Peter mentioned an episode of Twilight Zone. She was also in They Live, John Carpenter film They Live, I think right before this. And she's been in a few other stuff. She was in some Rob Zombie films. I think she was in 31, that movie. And she's been in a few others. Blind Fury, I think she was in a bit part of that with Rutger Hauer. But yeah, I watched this growing up many times as a kid, taped on a VHS tape. And as the years went on, I had the DVD. And yeah, this came out on MGM. I want to say around. Was it March? Maybe it was March, but it was around this time because it was a summer release. Just didn't do any business, sadly. That's why they didn't make a lot of underwater stuff later on, which is a shame. But the reason I love this film so much, people, because I know people don't go, why do you keep talking about this film, man? Why do you mention this film so many times? Because when people talk to me about why do you like certain movies or hate certain movies, if I'm on a journey for 90 minutes or 100 minutes or whatever, what you're doing is you're hanging out with people or characters for that amount of time. And when I get a group of characters like this that all have their traits and personalities, that they're not blocks of wood, when they're relatable, because a good chunk of the country is not just New York, it's not just LA, there's a whole heap in the middle where you have characters that did get their hands dirty, working 9 to 5, worried about their money, their salaries, do they have to work longer? Come on, baby. Sit on my face. So you got at least a little bit of nudity in there. But when you get this group of people that you can either relate to or care about, as if there's people who will just come in with his toothbrush. Just like, this is the type of boss you want. What the hell is going on here? He's got, what, an Arizona Wildcats hat? That's the size of a bubba. Oh, will you two pipe down? As a half day more hoopla, it's a full one. I'd help it. I've seen this film a lot. Because then we're going to get into our incident where things are going to take a certain turn. And I'm going to get something real quick. I'll be right back. And, actually, I put it over here for some stupid reason. There we go. Just to turn up a little bit. But what I was saying is that you get characters that you enjoy, and then it's all the little pieces that fit together for me. It's enjoying the way the film looks, that I'm not ostracized by, oh, look at that cartoon CGI effect, or look at that effect that I know is not in the real realm of where the characters are, or I see the nice production design, but also listen to a beautiful score, and I like the creature effects, I like the practical creatures, I like the variety. So you have the snake-like creature, I like the thing in the hand with the teeth, despite what the effects guys want to say. The little bits of the creature that if you try to show too much, it'd be too much. But then you do see a bit of the creature at the end, and I liked it. It's like it's a monster movie. Like, people think of monster movies in the 50s is why I think of monster movie. That creature in the dark is gonna fuck your shit up. And satisfying moments. Say, ah, motherfucker, blowing it up, or punching Meg Foster in the face. Better, a lot better. Like, these are moments I could get this satisfying conclusion. This is spoilers for those who haven't seen it. The only thing I would change is Ernie Hudson should have lived. That's the only thing I would change. But it also tells me it worked and I liked the character. I'm like, oh man, I hate to see him go. I wasn't indifferent. And plus, Ernie Hudson, at least his character didn't die a gory way. Like, he was ripped apart. At least he died bravely. Like, Ernie Hudson went to it and distracted it. Go, go. I mean, you didn't have to, but he distracted it so that they could get close to the chopper and Peter Weller could get the bomb. So that's why, I could deal with it in this. Because I like the other characters. And Ernie Hudson, again, if it picked it up and he did nothing, and then was torn apart, and But they did it as respectful as you can. You're trying to save them, but in retrospect, no, you didn't have to kill them off. That's like the one thing I would change. Well, two things. The other thing I would change is have one moment where there's like a creature, and he successfully, Peter Weller burns one with a flamethrower successfully. And you see it burning on fire. At least one moment of that. That's the two things I would change. Other than that, I didn't love the film. Like I said, I liked that was a smart idea that all the pain in the ass they would shoot to underwater is like, no, let's have this stuff dangle in the air to make it appear. When I was a kid, I thought, oh, yeah, this is underwater. And no, none of this is underwater. Just have them move a certain way, sound effects. And again, Jerry Goldsmith's music, Jerry Goldsmith is my favorite composer. I mean, he did Star Trek the Motion Picture. He did the first 3 Rambo films. He did Runaway with Tom Selleck. He did this film called Teen Solomon's Mines, which is his If you want to hear what Jerry Goldsmith would have done with Indiana Jones, you listen to the score Teen Solomon's Mines. It's a good score. Total Recall, great composer. Air Force One. He's sadly missed. Love Jerry Goldsmith, and this is one of my favorite scores of his. Love this score. My favorite is Rambo First Blood Part 2. But this is in my top 3 favorite Jerry Goldsmith scores. Of course, he worked on Alien as well, with the Alien Connect. Oh, but it's Alien underwater. Why is that a bad thing? Why is that a fucking bad thing? Cool, I haven't seen that. I want to see that. It's just a thing underwater. Cool, I haven't seen that. I want to see that. On a quick note, Scream Factory, put this. Someone else get this and re-release this. Maybe add new, better features on it. I can't. But I'm still thinking about the fact that Peter Weller is going to talk about this film on that fucking documentary In Search of Tomorrow, and I can't see it because I don't want to pay $70 for one fucking thing. It's bullshit. Guess I have to wait to see if somehow it gets online. Now, of course, here they're realizing that the ship sunk in supposedly in a different area, so it's a bit of a cover-up, and you find out later what the cover-up was. Is an experiment gone awry, genetic alteration, and it was hidden in the vodka. But I would say the picture quality of the Blu-ray does look very nice. And yet MGM, who released this, they're barely a company nowadays. I mean, MGM were companies that helped release some of the Rocky films and the first Child's Play and James Bond, and now MGM is barely a fucking thing. I mean, when was the last time you, other than James Bond, that you saw MGM, that line roaring at the beginning of a movie, like a newer movie? Not that often. And it's crazy that we're in the age where, some of these companies we would see in the 80s, like, 1 or 2 films have the Orion logo, but not many, because that was gone for a while. I did MGM, all this other stuff. Fox now. 20th Century Fox. Now they're looking at all this stuff here they found. Russians. Uh-oh. Don't deal with the Russians, especially nowadays. I mean, on another note, it's sad about, not everybody in Russia is that. It's just they have asshole leaders, just like we have asshole leaders. So anyone who's from Russia, if you somehow see this, sorry you're going through that. That is not really Kitty Dostiev. Oh, this is when you realize that some of the stuff it's people who are deceased, people who died. I'm just watching this, I just seeing like these little remarks back and forth. It seems like yeah, this is a group that's been down here for a while, so they don't feel like strangers with each other. And of course, deceased. Everyone pause for oh shit. Damn, all these people died. What the hell happened? I just like the title, Leviathan. That's such a cool title for a movie, Leviathan. And the trailer is voiced by Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime, which is very cool. I mean, come on. The trailer for this film is, yeah, Optimus Prime doing the trailer. Which that's another thing that doesn't even happen with movie trailers now. You don't have narrators, voiceovers. Because back to that, you had people like Percy Rodriguez, Peter Cullen, Don LaFontaine. But nowadays, that's not a thing. So we need like 10-second teasers for a trailer. Here's one of my favorite lines. And one more thing. If I think I hear you call me Betty one more time, six pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them. Love that stuff. I will admit that the director holds that shot a little bit too long about all the contents of this place. He holds that shot a little bit too long, to be fair. About the camera going to the dun dun. It's like, we get it. You cut that like in half. And I get Peter Weller's character here. It's like, okay, this sounds a bit weird, but it's like, I don't know anything about this. I just know about rocks and stuff. I think one of the reasons Peter Weller did the film was that he got the opportunity to go to Rome. So he's filmed the movie and then he gets to explore Rome. Because I think a lot of this was shot there because of the... It's not Dino De Laurentiis, it's Luigi and Ariello De Laurentiis. Although if this was a few years before, it probably would have been Dino De Laurentiis. This is around the time where you had these type of big-budget creature features willing to go into theaters. I mean, even to a film like Aliens in '86, Predator in '87, the Blob remake in 1988, and you had the Fly remake in '86, and this film, again, Leviathan, and again, you had the opportunity of these big-budget horror films, creature features that go into theaters, and you just don't have that nowadays. And someone had asked me a topic of what genres do you miss? That type of stuff. I mean, maybe the closest you get is a shitty Alien Covenant or The Predator. Underwater, which was okay. It was okay. But this kind of film, that's what I want. This kind of big budget film, not done with filters, likable cast. Like, I mean, again, this, Aliens, the Blob remake, even Tremors in 1990, those are some of my favorite films ever, and they all have that same connection. Cast of characters, good production value, and cool monsters. You know how back to the day people, you always talk about, you always hear about people talk about, oh, the 1950s, I grew up with these monster movies. For me, the equivalent of those 50s monster movies like Them and The Thing from Another World from the 50s and War of the Worlds, this was my War of the Worlds, Them, this was my stuff. Graveyard Shift, this movie, the Blob remake, that type of stuff. This was my 50s monster movie thing that I love and cherish, and you can chalk some of that up to nostalgia, but I do think it's is worth it. Peter Weller fucked him over and switched it with water. Which is a good thing he did, because otherwise they'd all be fucked. I mean, they'll all be fucked eventually, but they would have been fucked a lot sooner. And Richard Crenna gets more of an idea what's going on. He's a little bit like the Wilford Brimley character in John Carpenter's The Thing, where he knows there's a little bit more to this going on. And here's some of the vodka stolen out of there. Not going to end well for both of them. And from what I understand, Stan Winston, James Cameron wanted him for The Abyss, and he's like, well, there's this other project I want to do, probably to try to make it on his own, not just rely on James Cameron, and so he did this film. But I didn't, like, both films didn't do well, so it like didn't matter. But funny enough, of those films I mentioned, this was the first one to get a Blu-ray. Although now Deep Star 6 have a Blu-ray, I think Endless Descent has a Blu-ray, I believe. Thankfully, The Evil Below doesn't. I don't know what's worse, The Evil Below or Lords of the Abyss. Probably The Evil Below is a very boring film. What's it about? It don't matter, because I forgot, and it don't matter. But the reason they don't make a lot of these underwater horror films is just it's expensive and a pain in the ass to shoot. Like, again, a lot of this they did not shoot in the water until maybe like the very end. But like, a lot of this dry for wet stuff, it was a smart decision. But you still don't have to deal with water dripping around, people getting wet. You gotta be careful of the water because of all the electricity. You don't want to get someone fried in the middle of it. And this is what I like. I think Peter Weller and Amanda Pays, they make a cute pair. And they have this smirk and back and forth with each other, and somebody got the brilliant idea to stick a geologist down here in charge of you cowboys. They thought to tell Schiff from Cellar that to do a decent job here. I mean, this is a guy admitting he was scared to death, that he's in over his head, and he's trying to do the best he can as a leader. Wow, I'm talking about character development. But, you know, people will praise Scream 5 and all this other shit, but they talk shit about a movie like this. Sorry, I actually like this movie that has actual characters. And people I like and give a shit about, not some two fucking twat sisters who could be in a Flying 69 for all I give a fuck. Fuck Scream 5, fuck a lot of these new horror films. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's just my opinion. That's what they forget to realize. You have to make a film like this that even if a monster didn't show up, you would still enjoy it. And then the monster is the cream of the crop. It's the cherry on top. When you watch Tremors, I'm enjoying Val and Earl. If the movie's about Val and Earl and their journey to get the fuck out of this town, it'd still be an enjoyable journey, but the monsters make it that much better. The crew and Alien, or even the Marines and Aliens. If the crew and Aliens, as Sigourney Weaver was on the ride, but they went to, I don't know, some dispute on a colony, and it becomes like just a regular action movie, it'd still be an enjoyable film. But the monsters and the aliens create even more of a great cherry on top. That's what The Blob. Oh, there's Kevin Dillon, he's the rebel. There's Shawnee Smith, likable cheerleader. Again, even when the monster doesn't show up, you have to enjoy the film itself. That's what filmmakers have to look at. Is the film enjoyable without the monster? Or without the killer? Or without this and that? And this is one of those films that, in my opinion, is. It's always nice, though. Once in a while, I've had someone say this. Not too often, but once in a while, some go, oh man, I checked out Leviathan because of you, and you know what? I ended up liking it. I always find that pretty cool because, people always talk about why I rant on stuff because I don't like a lot of the newer stuff. I think it could be better because I've seen better. I guess that's subjective. I not only say my subjective. And it's like, I liked movies like this. I think this is better than people give credit to. And again, you look at the way a lot of the characters interact nowadays, and compared to this, there's no comparison. Again, this is a good leader. This guy's going to get his hands dirty to help them out. You're ready to play ping pong. And really enough, that'll be our trio of characters for a good chunk of the second half of the film. But this is why I don't mind the slow burn, because so many people talk about how, well, we need time to develop the characters. So this film does that, where you get little bits here and there, but people still got mad about it. So it's like you can't win from time to time. Like, I cannot believe it's been 40 minutes. It's gone by like that. See, that's what I mean by a movie that just definitely my cup of tea. Of course, the old school computers. Whereas people are, oh man, it's so dated. Every fucking movie a year after it's dated. And how do you... That's not fair to the movie. That's like, aliens, it's so dated. Look at all those old computers. Well, what the fuck do you expect? That was 86. This is 89. I'm sorry they didn't have a fucking fortune cookie or a crystal ball to see what technology was in 2022. It's dated. Again, every fucking movie's dated as soon as it comes out. Movies 5 years ago are fucking dated. Give me a break. I mean, that's just a bullshit statement. Or a full of shit statement. False. Full of shit syndrome. FOSS. In 89, these are the computers we had. So, like, what the fuck else were they supposed to do? So I'm fine with it. Plus, nowadays, it's kind of cool. Sort of, it's like a retro angle, retro feel to it as well. And that's one of the things I liked about the film as well, like the different effects that you can put into it. Like when he reveals to Peter Weller what's going on with Daniel Stern on the back of him, and like this weird, like melted type of look on his back, and well, it's always like scales. Again, the idea that in a way that they're almost like turned into fish or marine life, sea creature. I think that's a cool take on the Thing motif. It's done better than a lot of other bullshit. But yeah, this is one of those films that you don't really have a lot of people talk about nowadays. I'm probably like the number one fan for this film, but I'm happy to be that way. If there's going to be a number one fan for this film, I would gladly let it be me. So I'll say this: if anyone has a brand new copy of this, sealed up or whatnot, let me know, and I'll gladly buy it. Just to have a sealed copy of it, just I'm paranoid. Well, I guess it doesn't. everything has screen rot eventually, even Blu-rays. So, but I don't know. But I did. It's just weird. Like of all the fucking movies, well, it's not the only one that's been out of print, but like a lot of other movies are still in print, and I don't know. Obviously, that's because it must not have sold well. If it doesn't sell well, then it's like, why do we keep making it? So I think that's another thing that means it didn't sell well. That means people didn't care. Yeah, teach their own. Is that the herpes thing, is it? I'd be happy if they go up there with the herpes thing. My wife would never understand. Hector Elizondo here, he would be in Beverly Hills Cop 3. But he's probably most well known for the TV show Chicago Hope. As Ernie Hudson here, before this, he was in Ghostbusters 1. Ghostbusters 2 was actually the same. How are you wearing those gloves? It ain't been overtime, is it? Ernie Hudson's a lot of fun. I think this is one of his better characters. Because again, he's a good actor, and he was in the Substitute. He was in, like I said, The Crow. He played the police officer. Well, before this, he was in one of the penitentiary movies as this crazed killer. I think he was a space hunter or something way back in the day, which was a 3D movie. But then Ghostbusters in '84 definitely got him some publicity. And I'm sure like everyone always asks about Ghostbusters. It's cool that he's on here. Although, Street Factory just... They don't even have him on the back. Like, look at this. Ernie Hudson's name is not even on the back there. What is that bullshit? Interview with actor Hector Elizondo and creature effects artist Alec De La Silva Jr. They're not even on the back. Again, no commentary. Hell, I would have done a commentary track for free. I would have got my friends to do it with me. Mike OCP and Efree, and we could all three together just talk about the film. Do it for free, man. Get in the studio, plan out a bit more, look up some info. And of course, back in the day, we did not, for rightfully so, did not trust corporations, did not trust the superiors above us, because it was always like the government or it was the higher-ups that would fuck over the common man for money, which is true. And you saw a lot of that in the 80s, this distrust of government, distrust of... I mean, for Rambo First Blood Part 2, the higher-ups, the government sent him on a mission, and they abandoned him. What? We don't get into the government for a bunch of forgotten ghosts? Men, goddammit, men who fought for the country. Or the Ronald Reagan, the Reaganomics, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, he who has the gold makes the rules mentality. And again, this whole distrust of government that you would see time and time again, or distrust of authority. That's why you have like the cop who was the renegade cop on the edge, or the company. It's not just the 80s, you had that in the 70s as well, going in also into the 80s. That, you know, they would fuck you over for another extra dime, which, you know, is true. It's fucking true. I don't trust authority either. And that's the thing, like, you realize, yeah, they never did tell them that Daniel Stern's character was dead. And that's why you get this idea, just subtle, where it moves. And it's one of those, like, we know, oh shit, but he doesn't know. And that's like, oh shit. Like, wait a minute, we know he's dead, but what the fuck? And Amanda Pays, like Lisa Albacher, the one crying, the one on the bed, that's the one from Beverly Hills Cop. I believe she was in Livewire as well. Underrated film with Pierce Brosnan. Came out after this, I believe. Livewire is a good Pierce Brosnan film. That's one where someone has made this liquid water thing that if you drink it, it also with your stomach acid turns into a human bomb, time bomb, and your eyes start bleeding and that's what's called live wire. I did this weird liquid that when you drink, I'm like, wow, that's a really cool plot. And then Pierce Brosnan gets some MacGyver shit to use against the bad guys at the end. But you feel bad for Lisa Elbacher. Her hair is falling out. She's trying, but she's not being annoying, irritating. She's doing it the right way. And that's a cool makeup effect with the arm. And I think she's realizing, do I want to turn into that? So it's smart. So wait a minute. This guy's this sick and he's dead, and I could be that sick, and you feel bad because lead up you realize she committed suicide, this character, because of that. And it's where they're like, oh shit, serious moment. You just feel bad. Because she was afraid of turning into that thing. But the other lady, Amanda Pays, just a beautiful lady. She was in a film before this, a creature feature called The Kindred. Which, hell, I think that got like a pretty lengthy documentary and a lot more features than this film did. Like, I'm glad this film got a Blu-ray, but man, this deserved a better Blu-ray. You're greedy. Yeah, you know what? I am fucking greedy, and I'll admit it. And it's one of those things that, when the movie, they say it came out, it didn't do any business. I almost want to look up what the business was. If I'll do that now. Sorry about the clearing the throat. And of course, their bad luck. Again, they had like 1 or 2 days more to go, and that's when the shit hits the fan. But you have to make it as well because that will lead up to the possible rescue. See, I think these effects look cool. This amalgamation of these two bodies combined in this weird, melded, just weird ass shit. Like, what? It's like, how the hell do you even explain that? Let's see. If I learn how to type it right. Yeah, 5.8 on IMDb. I think it could be higher. Deep Star 6 was the first released. Yeah, that was released in like January. The Abyss, Leviathan, Evil Below, Lords of the Deep. Endless Descent was 1990. Let's see. Oh, this is when the shit hits the fan. Get the fuck out of there, man. Get out of there. Nope. There you go. So that stretch will lead into later on for Hector Lozano's character. And it's like we're seeing bits of the creature, but not too much to give away its rubber nature to it. And also we get to see this creature later on. Because that is the creature at the end of the film. So you set this up here, but you realize... Some people may not even realize this creature that's flushed out is the same creature at the very end of the film. And it's so giant because it's getting all the sea life. And that's why it created this bigger, massive body. Some people may think it's the same creature, but no, this is this creature. I like the bit that it has an arm and took the time to, nope, I'm going to get out of here. And a piece of you still don't be here. But yeah, this bit here, like, it's not dead. It's just, out of the facility, but it comes back later on. So I guess there are very few scenes in the film that were actually shot underwater, as production went for the dry for wet look, with most of the scenes inside the shack taking place on sound stages and a tape measuring 130 feet times 270 feet. And then the ones that could not be filmed dry for wet were shot either in big water tanks at sea or at sea in Malta. Stan Winston Studio also built the deep dive suits, which I think look really cool. Designed by conceptual artist Stephen Bird. They made a dive suit for each of the lead actors: Peter Weller, Amanda Pace, Ernie Hudson, Daniel Stern. Chicken feathers were used at one point of shooting underwater scenes to suggest things were floating around in the water. According to Alex Thompson, this did not work because the feathers floating side to side instead of up and down, and the idea had to be strapped all together. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of info on the film. Try to see if there's any other ones. Let's see. Well, I guess the writers, you have David Webb Peoples and Jeb Stewart, who would go on to do other familiar movies. One of them, I believe, helped deal with the Blade Runner. See, I love this type of creature work. This little creature, this crazy worm-like thing with rows of teeth coming out of his damn leg. The company's commitment is to the almighty dollar. And Peter Weller, he wants to believe, as he says here. I know your life's gone a couple bad rounds, Doc, but it doesn't necessarily mean the whole company's one big bummer. The way I like the dialogue they put into him. Makes it unique in a good way. But yeah, David Webb Peoples, some of the stuff he worked on Blade Runner with Hampton Fancher. The Blood of Heroes, which I believe he also directed. Yeah, he wrote and directed The Blood of Heroes with Rutger Hauer. He was one of the writers behind Unforgiven, David Webb Peoples. And then Jeb Stewart. He had a hand in helping write with others Die Hard. With others, he helped write Locked Up with Sylvester Stallone, Another 48 Hours, The Fugitive. He helped write Fire Down Below with Steven Seagal. Trying to look at the box office. There's, him trying to steep out of this. Man, steep. Shh, shh. How do you just go sit there go shh, shh? How do we just been through? The time you goddamn steam. You don't know shit about steam, man. They don't ski in Spanish Harlem. What about what we just saw? You do with it your way, I'll do with it mine. What don't do, man, huh? And this to me is like an understandable reaction. One guy is trying to calm down and not think about it, and there's nothing he can do, so he doesn't want to have a heart attack about it. And the other's like, what the fuck is this? Like, what's going on here? And like, they're both understandable reactions. Of course, Hector Elizondo scratches his chest to remind the audience about what eventually will happen. So, yeah, March 17th, it came out, 1989. Number 2 with $5 million. Number 1 was Fletch Lives. Also, the top 10 for that weekend was Lean on Me at number 3, a re-release of The Rescuers at number 4, Rain Man at number 5, Skin Deep, the John Ritter film, at number 6, Chances Are, wherever that is, at number 7, Bill and His Excellent Adventure, number 8, Police Academy 6, number 9, and New York Stories, number 10. And then the second weekend, it dropped down to number 6. So it went from 2 to 6. Fletch Lives, number 1. Rescuers re-released, number 2. Rain Man, number 3. Lean on Me, number 4. Dead Bane, good Don Johnson film, number 5. And Leviathan, number 6. And then the weekend after, it was still at number 6. And I think soon after, they just took it out of theaters. Where they realized, this is a bomb. And it made like $15 million in the U.S. $15 million. Oh, there you go. This eel, I said worm, but it's more like an eel. This crazy eel-like thing. And you just feel bad, because, this guy, he's a nice guy, you don't deserve it, and just feel bad. Some nice makeup effects, and Ernie Hudson's character, he's like, he doesn't know what to do. Like, attached him so quickly. You have this thing that if you get infected, so it's like, it's not like, well, just go up and grab it. Well, what if you get infected? What if you get sick because of it? And it's like, well, I have to lock him in so he don't escape and kill other people, but at the same time, he's dying, and, what do you do? Why do you go up and tear it up? Well, what if it bites you? What if it, that's easier said than done. I'm looking at some of the reviews, of course. 24% Rotten Tomatoes. Leviathan is the movie of the moment, a lively, well-made schlock thrill that will doubtlessly be forgotten in 2 weeks. Roger Ebert gave the film thumbs up as a moderately effective, if cliché, thriller, while Gene Siskel called it a rip-off of several other films that have come before it, but nonetheless highlighting performances by Peter Weller and Amanda Pays. Well, at least there's that. So. I like the look of that door too. Though I like the way that was designed. You just see how it just completely ripped it the fuck apart. And I do like this lingering shot, just to let the audience really showcase, Jesus, this is how powerful this fucking thing is. And nice little camera work, gliding down, get a nice view of the area. And then, if you take out the end credits, there's about half an hour left, and this is when the cat and mouse chase begins. And you know what? No, it doesn't have a lot of gore, like heads being bitten off and cut off. But you know what? I'll take all the positive attributes of this over. I keep mentioning the new Chainsaw Massacre film because that just came out. And I've had people go, how can you not like this? It's gory, it's fun. I'm like, to each their own. Alright, we got our weapons now. We got saws. I like, again, the creation of all these. It's a saw, but a different looking type of saw. And this little, like, flamethrower thing. We're talking dirty. That's a cool looking flamethrower, too. I always like the look of that flamethrower. And here it took all the blood. I laughed because I think of Ernie Hudson's line, you mean we got goddamn Dracula here? See, you never go off alone. That's always a bad idea. You never go off alone. I'm glad he's not that far away, to be fair. He's only like, I don't know, 20 feet away. He's trying to fix some stuff, but again, this is why you never go off alone. But at least Richard Crenna's there. And Richard Crenna was a good actor. I mean, again, I remember him the most, of course, as Colonel Troutman in the first 3 Rambo films. And he and Rambo 2, he worked with George P. Cosmatos in that. And I thought, just a good, underrated actor. He was in a film years before this called The Evil. And I think he was another one about, like, a devil dog movie. So he had done horror before. And after this, he didn't pop up as much. I mean, he was in Hot Shots Part 2, playing like a parody role of his Colonel Troutman character. But I'm trying to think, like, after this, I can't think of many other films after this that he did that come to mind, I should say. And I know I keep going back to this, but like in Search of Tomorrow, that's going Leviathan, I guess, going to be a part of it. It's a documentary, the same guys who did the In Search of Darkness horror documentaries, and they're doing In Search of Tomorrow. And it's $70 for the Blu-ray, which to me is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And that's the only film I want to hear about. Because the other films, everyone always talks about Star Wars and the Terminator. And you do find like multiple places. You never hear Peter Weller talk about Leviathan. And like what else, who else is talking about it. I don't want to pay $70 if it's just 5 minutes. Half of that is footage. And the other is the clip on YouTube. And then there's like 4 more extra lines said. I'm like, wow, that was nice $70. Because those documentaries, I mean, they're long, but like each film is only going to have a couple minutes. And again, that clip on YouTube is like a minute or two. So if it's like, oh, I'm going to pay $70 for 1 more minute, sorry, that's not for me. So I guess I'll just wait. See, I think it's the right idea to keep this kind of hidden. So it pops up from time to time to still keep it a bit alive. And it's like, well, if you show the creature more, people go, it's a guy in a suit. If you don't, you're not seeing it enough. I mean, it's not John Carpenter's The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing is a technically better movie. People don't get mad at me. I probably like this a little bit more only because I like to root for the underdog and how do I put it? It has a bit more of the. I love the ending to The Thing. It works well, but like the ending to Leviathan, just much more of that rousing, yeah, crowd pleaser. Although the ending to John Carpenter's The Thing is great for its purpose. But again, I mean, this is just nostalgia plays a part of it as well. Of course, this is the it says chest, so you think it's going to be like a chest burster type of thing, but then it's dead from the hand. We'll see that in a little bit. And here you get Richard Crenna doing a little bit of a Wilford Brimley from The Thing. If you remember in Jar Jar's The Thing, Wilford Brimley, when he wrecked the place with an axe. Don't you understand? That thing wanted to be us. I'll kill you. Watch Claude, do you hear me? Sorry, I love John Carpenter's The Thing as well. That's another favorite of mine. That's me. I miss monster movies like that. The Thing, Tremors, this one, Aliens, even the '90s, which there's more CG, but I love The Relic and Deep Rising, and they just don't make stuff like that anymore. They just don't. It sucks. But most of those films, not all, but most of those films I mentioned flopped. The Thing flopped. Aliens was a hit. This flopped. Tremors didn't do that well in theaters. It flopped. They only got some business on video. But when it was in theaters, it pretty much flopped. The Relic flopped. Deep Rising flopped. So that's why they don't make them anymore. The Blob remake, '88, flopped. When most of these films flop, studios go, well, we're not going to make them anymore because... And you understand in the business. You put the business hat on for 5 minutes. If most of these films are flops, why would they keep making them? To keep losing money. There's the steep bubbles. Fucking Doc. Again, sorry about my throat. I apologize for the clearing of the throat. You know. And then, they're trying to do the best they can, but... this is where the scene comes up where, again... See, this is where the filmmakers knew that they were playing in familiar territory. They knew they were playing a bit of the sandbox of Alien. That's why you do this for that reason. Oh, you think it's a chest burster, you think it's going to come out of his chest, and then boom, it's in the hand. They did that on purpose. Like, come on now. Unless he has a crazy boner on his chest. But you think it's going to come out, and there you go. But, oh shit. Yep, this is where the shit's really hitting the fan. And I like that thing with the teeth. I don't think it was as bad as the makeup guys made it seem like. Not at all. And now we have our trio for the rest of the movie. I love waves. Now you pretty much get the idea via sound effects that this Richard Crenna is going to change. There's questions like, should we have seen it? Should we not have seen it? I guess that's up to the viewer. There's a party that, yeah, it would have been cool to see because it could have been some cool makeup effects, but on the flip side, the sound effects create images that maybe would be better than what those effects would be. Although the effects probably would have been cool anyway. I'm fully aware of the finality of my decision. Our death warrant signed by the good doctor. And that's the thing, like, they had a decent budget, but they still used the less is more mentality, which I think some people were disappointed in. I think for a lot of people, if they first see this, they get disappointed in that less is more mentality. But at the same time, I do think in retrospect it does work because, you know, a lot of times these movies, people go, oh, it looks so fake, and there's the rubber monsters. Like, well, that's why the less is more. You get more of what it can do and what its ordeal is, let alone. But yeah, I like the makeup effects in this. Oh, this is just my favorite line in the movie. I know you've gone through hell. And then Ernie Hudson's reply. Gone? Bitch, we're still here! By the way, that was another thing about that, I mean, on a random topic. That In Search of Darkness horror film documentary, and it did that fucking trailer. Good looking, well edited trailer. And it showed all these images of films. In that trailer, one of the big stopping points is that line. Gone, bitch, we're still here. Not in the documentary, In Search of Darkness, or In Search of Darkness 2. In neither documentaries. In neither fucking things. They did, I just now they're doing a third one now. In Search of Darkness 1, In Search of Darkness 2. It's not in any of them. Oh, well, you know, we put this in the trailer, and maybe that did you entice to buy the documentary? Well, actually, nah, it's not in it. Sorry. Then why the fuck did you advertise that it was in it? And then, you know, that type of bullshit pisses me off. Even if one person bought it, just, oh wow, they don't talk about Leviathan, cool. Then don't fucking show and advertise if you're not going to do it. But no, it's going to be this In Search of Tomorrow. I'm like, I've already heard many people talk about Star Wars, and I love RoboCop, but there's plenty of features on RoboCop. I want to hear about movies like Leviathan, like Peter Weller you're talking about, but anyway. Yeah, more so about being fucked over by the company, and Amanda Pays find out about the stories that'll be written about them. That there was a tragic mining accident and everybody died because of it. And that's the press release they're going to reveal to the public. Welcome to the Union, boss. We're all expendable. And that's kind of the problem is that if you have these weapons and you deal with a creature, it's like an alien. An alien, there's not a lot of action and fighting the creature in Alien. Like, think about that. Like, how many times do they actually fight the alien in Alien? They don't. Other than the very end, shooting it out of the goddamn airlock. Or even, like, little battles. Here, you say that coming up is kind of a little battle. Stealing the shot of it and catching Peter Weller, and it cuts his fucking arm, and then when it gets in it crushes the head of the creature. That's a satisfying. Like you say, it has little satisfying bits. And Ron Cobb did a nice job on the production design, all the like that thing above them, that pipe with all the water. Like, I should say above Amanda Pays. Above Amanda Pays, you have that pipe is got filtered with water in it. That's a cool design, and like all this stuff they had to build. Little elements of this creature. And whoa, a strong woman, but I've been told that never was a thing. This is what I've been told nowadays. I'm a evil white man, and strong women was never a thing in movies. Well, Amanda Pays looks pretty strong holding that fucking flamethrower. Yeah, shoot that fucking flamethrower. There you go, burn the fucker. There you go, get that flamethrower shit in there. Now, those are pretty heavy looking fucking doors, I'll say that. I do like this little action bit coming up where they have to each one have their little moments. The stupid eel serpent thing. I think the editing is fairly good too. It keeps at a good pace. Each person get their moments to shine. Yeah, fry the fucker. Bloodied it up, fried it up a bit. Ernie Hudson's able to save the door. Well, actually, that's a little bit. We're not there yet. But I mean, like the way all the lights are flittering around, but it's not to the point that you feel like you gotta be careful of epilepsy. I think it's quickly edited, but it's not confusing. She's trapped. Things are going down. She's trying to get up. Pierwell is helping out. And Jared Goldsmith's music just complements this so well, too. Oh, there's the creature. Saw right behind her. Get a little glimpse of it. Like, oh shit. That's a big fucking arm. He must work out. The head's on the table. And you get your hero be able to do stuff. Steal a shot of a flamethrower, fry it a bit. Here, cut the fucking serpent. There you go. Let the fuck go out of me. And this is like, tear the set apart. Just destroy all the shit. Like, you really get the idea this thing is just completely fucking falling apart. All the little elements, the lights, the shadow of the fan in the background, all the dripping water, shit just going up the creek, all the steam. And then trying to find their escape. Yeah, this is, I would say, one of my favorite pieces of the score by Jared Goldsmith. My favorite is at the end a lot better, but this is definitely one of my favorite pieces. Sorry, I'm just enjoying it. There you go. See, I love that quick shot where you see the mouth. I think that looks really cool. Yeah, the wider shots is like a man in a suit, but I mean, it is. I mean, and it's more real than some of the CGI shit, and you can't get more real than real. So something physically being there. And then these fucked up elements of these faces on them. See, I love the up close moments of his creature. I think they had like the up the money shot moments, and then you have the wider shots where it has to move and do stuff physically, so it's less detailed. But that's where they're cutting. I think the editing here is cut well enough so that you see glimpses of it, you get enough of it, so it's not like you see nothing, but then don't hold on to it too long. Yeah, now burn the fucker. You goddamn start. There you go. Of course, his bad luck, it gets stuck right in a minute here. Oh, shit. That's like the worst place to get stuck. Like, come on, damn it. But at least, I mean, I would get blown up anyway, but at least you get the satisfaction of seeing this fucking thing's head squished. Coming up. Nice, there you go. Nice bloody death. Like in Stephen King's Graveyard Shift when the monster gets ground up in the machine. Nice little bloody death. And back in the day when you had all these elements put together, it's again, we're gonna shoot dry for wet, but we're gonna get some shots that are underwater. We're gonna have actual production design, we're gonna tear the shit out of it, like these scenes here. Things are wrecked back and forth, imploding. And that's also a callback. At the beginning of the film, Daniel Stern's talking about an implosion. Granted, an implosion of a suit. Here you get the implosion of a whole fucking facility. So they reference implosion at the beginning. So they pay it off here, not in the suit, but here at the end. But the mix of miniatures as well as practice, all the combinations, not just we use CGI and that's it. No, the combination of all the things is what helps elevate the material. Not the only thing, but it helps. It's like filmmakers don't realize there's this variety you can incorporate into your production. Yeah, the suits, I do always, like I said, I always like the way the suits looked. And kind of what they're doing is this bit here in the poster. Right, you don't have someone with their sexy ass out, which I appreciate, nice artwork, but well, Amanda pays, and she's sexy, so you do say that. But in a weird way, this is what it is. And there we go. I'm guessing this is where they shot. I mean, it said on the trivia like in the tank, but maybe with the actors it's in a tank. But there are probably some shots in the water. They got out of the helicopter and such. But it looks better here than it did in Deep Star 6. In Deep Star 6, you could literally see the painting on the background, like the edge of the tank. You could literally see just the clouds look like they were painted with fucking crayon or something. So this actually does look like they're in the ocean. In Deep Star 6 at the end, it look like you can literally see the waves splashing at the end of the fucking tank and splash it up. And it's like, are they in the Truman Show? And Deep Star 6, are they part of the Truman Show? Is Jim Carrey going to walk out, talk to someone, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and walk through a door, and these people are like, what the fuck? But I mean, Deep Star 6, I don't mind, but I think this is way better. That's why you said, oh, Deep Star 6 is so much better. I'm like, how? How is... I've read articles about Deep Star 6 is better than this movie. I'm like, it's your opinion, but how is it better? How? How is it better? But I guess, I don't know, they like the... I don't know. I'm like, the cast is better, the music is better, the production design is better, the ending is better. But I guess in '89, people were just not gung-ho about seeing these underwater movies. And see, that's the monster from before. And see, you hear Ernie Hudson go, get out of here! Like, it was distracting them, but now it's been grabbed. And at least he's trying to save him. And it's like, ah, man. But that's what you say, motherfucker. And it'll blow up like a sumbitch. I like the way the creature looks. That's satisfying, the explosion. People, wait a minute, I thought little bits in here. Well, you gotta kill the creature somehow. And to me, you can always bullshit your way out of sci-fi. Maybe it needs time to set up, okay, this part and this part. It didn't have time, and then it got blown up and said, "Saya fucking our pal." Or it's because Robocop did it. Robocop made it so that the thing's fucking dead. It's not pieces that will become creatures as well. I buy it because Peter Weller did it. But Ernie Hudson, yeah. What do we say? It's like, oh man, I hate that he died. But that made me go, because I cared about the character. If I didn't give a shit about the character, that would be even worse. But yeah, you didn't have to kill him off. I think he could have been alive here. Again, the one big thing that's what I would change. Just keep Ernie Hudson alive. Which Ernie Hudson mentions that on the features, that he was at a theater and people were like, oh, fuck, man. And he was right. He was right. Maybe if I was one of the producers, I would have told him, nah, let him live, or shoot an ending where he lives. I was like, nah, make him live. I'd be like, you know what, George, Mr. Cosmatos, I was with you the whole time, but you gotta do this one thing. And that's a great way to end it. You knock the fuck out of Meg Foster, you know, better. A lot better. That would never get through in today's age. Because it'd be labeled sexist. But it's not because she's a woman, it's because she was a bitch. It just knocks her the fuck out. Better, like, that's a satisfying moment. And look at that cast. That's such a great cast. And then beautiful music by Jerry Goldsmith. Which this is the piece of music I use at the tail end of a lot of my, not all, but a lot of my videos. This is the piece of music. People are like, what's that from? It's like, it's from Leviathan. Like a triumphant music, man. And this is what I mean by the end, like the say, ah, motherfucker, blowing up the creature. There's the bit, not just. Yeah, you would never get away with that today. Oh my god, horrible! This guy is so sexist. I'm like, it has nothing to do with the. You know how it is, guys and gals and everyone in between. You know how it is. But yeah, that's a satisfying fucking ending. That's a, other than Ernie Hudson dying, that's a satisfying ending, man. And it's a satisfying movie. I love this movie to death. I can't get enough of watching this movie. This went by very quick. This hour and 30-some minutes, and like I say, they don't make movies like this anymore, which is sad. So a lot of people would say that's good, but Steve Johnson was one of the guys working on the effects. There goes. There's Steve Johnson's name, which he would work on a lot of other movies. He has a book showcasing it. He did little bits on Big Trouble in Little China. He did bits on a lot of other films. I think maybe Ghostbusters he did a little bit on. I could be wrong. But yeah, other than that, I mean, the bonus features, like I said, Monster Melting Pot, which is the longest feature, and it's just the effects guys talking shit about the film. Hector Lozano interview, Ernie Hudson interview, a trailer, and then more from Stream Factory. Again, not the feature for Back of the Day, no commentaries. Additional visual effects by Industrial Light and Magic. I wonder which ones they did. I wonder if it was maybe the implosion of the facility, the miniatures, or something else. Special thanks to Pepsi Cola, because that's what they were drinking near the beginning of the film. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Love this film to death. Always will. And we will see you guys later. Very underrated film. Fun creature feature flick. Catch you guys next time. Later.